Hi, this is Shaheedah Hill, getting you over the hill to home ownership and helping you confidently buy your first home. Today, I want to talk about if you're moving from one state to another state and how this year I helped three different ways that I've helped people move from their state to Georgia. So, if you're thinking about moving from your state to another state and how you kind of interact with your realtor in the other state, then I'm going to give you three suggestions of what my clients have done. So I've had three clients. One moved from California. The other was in Afghanistan. He was on a contract job. He's military. And then the third was moving from Ohio. So we did something different with each of them. So let's go for the California first. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel. So number one, let me say before I tell you how the transactions went, if you want to qualify for owner occupant financing, okay, you have to prove to the lender that you're going to be living in the state. So that's very important just to know, because a lot of people are thinking about moving and they want to use their income where they're living now to qualify, which you can qualify, but it's not going to be considered an owner occupant mortgage, because you can buy a house anywhere. But if you're buying a house that the lender does not think you're going to occupy, the down payment is higher and the interest rate is higher. So you want to try to qualify, if you can, for an owner occupant mortgage, proving to them that you plan on living in the house that you're going to purchase. And the way you prove that to them, generally speaking, is by showing them you have employment in the state. Or that you're retired and you're not getting, money from a specific employer. So either you're retired, you're getting money from an employer from the state, or that you are a virtual employee or remote employee and you have proof of your remote employment at that job. So just know that for owner occupant. So California buyer. She contacts me. She's going to fly here to look at the neighborhood. So she flew in. She looked at some of the neighborhoods that she had already been looking at online that she was interested in. We met. We signed a buyer's brokerage agreement that weekend that she came to visit. And then she didn't find the house that she wanted at that time. So she went back to California. She had a plan to move, later in the year. So say that is, we met in maybe January, and she said, I'm coming, I'm moving, I'm retiring, coming to move in April. So during this time, we're looking, she's getting homes. I'm sending her homes, online, and sending her, through text and that sort of thing. I would go look at the homes, do a video tour so it can match, because sometimes the pictures are one thing, but when you get to the neighborhood, it's something totally different. Sorry, I'm gonna get some water real quick. When you get to the neighborhood, it's totally different. So I would do a virtual tour for her, send her that video, and then tell her kind of, it really does look like the pictures, nice neighborhood, all of that kind of stuff. So once we found a house that she wanted to make an offer on, she's still in California, I'm still here. We make the offer on the house, and our offer gets accepted. And we had a 10-day due diligence. Now, mind you, the California buyer, it was prior to coronavirus. We were under contract, say, in February or so, with the closing date being in April. So we did have a 10-day due diligence period. Sometimes that's hard to get right now in this market. So in those 10 days, so say the inspection happened on day 2. I attended the inspection. We sent her the inspection report, went over the inspection report. There were no deal breakers, so she wanted to move forward, but she wanted to fly to see the house, because remember, you can terminate your contract for any reason during that 10-day due diligence. So she flew back in to see the house for herself in person for that during the 10-day due diligence. Say it was on day 7 or so. She saw the house, still loved the house, and then, we're good to go. We weren't going to terminate. We were negotiated for any repairs or any credits. She flies back to California. So she's flown here 2 times by this time. She's flown back to California, and then then we have a closing date. So any of the, I verified the repairs were completed, maybe did another video for her, that sort of thing. And then the closing. So she flies back for the closing of the property, and she closed in person, and that's how she bought her house in another state. Now, she did have to verify with the lender. She used a local lender to Georgia. She did have to verify that through retirement paperwork. That's how she proved that she was going to be an owner occupant, that she was retiring or had retired from her job in California. So that's option number one. You fly back and forth through the process. Option number two, my client from that was in Afghanistan, he found the house online even prior to me meeting with him. He said, I want to buy this house. He contacted me. I went to the subdivision, met with the on-site agent. This was new construction. The first lady was resale. So we went to the on-site agent. I met with her and I said, I'm going to pretty much be his eyes on this transaction. He had to pick his countertops, his carpet, his flooring, like all the design. So we're pretty much doing it on video. And I'm, showing him, I'm telling him what it feels like and, what it looks like and all of that kind of stuff. So he picks all of his designs. He does his contract. He e-signs everything. And then I would say 2 weeks or so, I would do a video of the house, let him know how it was going from the framing stage to the drywall stage to carpet to cabinets, all of that. And then as we got closer to closing, he did do his inspection. I attended the inspection. I had him on video to speak with the inspector so he could get any of his questions answered. He used the preferred lender for the builder. He got some of his closing costs paid that way. And then when it came time for him to close, he used the power of attorney. So I wasn't his power of attorney to close. He used someone else that was going to be his power of attorney. Because mind you, he's still in Afghanistan. He's never seen this house in person. And so he closed with the power of attorney. Since then, he's flown in. I think he came back at around Thanksgiving time. So he came to town. I've still not met him. We've been having some back and forth. I'm trying to go to the house and our schedules haven't aligned yet. So I've actually never met him in person. We've only done video. And so it's kind of interesting. It was my first time never meeting somebody. And a little bit nervous that he never saw the house in person. But what he said to me was, it actually looks bigger in person than it did on the videos. And he's really happy and pleased with everything. Now, I would say this, he was familiar with the area of Georgia because he had lived there prior. So he had some familiarity with the area and the neighborhood. So my last client from that moved from Ohio to Georgia, they actually stayed with family. So they contacted me, said that, we want to move here. We looked at some of the schools, this is where we want to be. And the more specific you are, the better. And this is just in any situation when you're dealing with a realtor. The more specific you are, the better we are able to help you. So they knew what county they wanted to be in. They knew what school district, what high school they wanted their child to go to. So we were really honed in on this specific area. So they did stay with family for about, I would say, 2 months. They found a home, they closed on the home, and then they moved in. So those are some of the options that you have. And I'm sure there's plenty of other options. But when you're thinking about moving from out of state, and they had already had jobs. Another thing, they had jobs. So they had secured jobs before they left Ohio, and then they started those jobs once they got to Georgia, and they just lived with family. So they were able to, of course, be owner occupants as well and not have to pay, a higher down payment or a higher interest rate. So I hope this was helpful for people that are thinking of moving to another state. If you have any other questions, please put them in the comments. I do recommend using a local lender because when you're dealing with sellers, in Georgia, if they've never heard of your lender, then they may be a little bit apprehensive about, choosing that lender. So just make sure that lender is somebody that's reputable, maybe that your agent recommends, especially if you're doing, a multiple offer situation and you're out of the state, because some agents don't like selling to people who haven't seen the home before in person. It's considered a blind offer, and they feel it's more of a risk to sell it to somebody who's never seen it. So just, really work closely with your realtor to make sure that, everything happens smoothly. Thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe to my channel.